Oh,
Hi everyone, this is Lada and Magic Mike from Astrolada.com. And hi Mike, how are you?
how are you doing? Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to break down these solar and lunar returns.
I know it's such a great topic, and I'm so glad you are here. With it's our second interview actually. We had an interview a couple of years ago or a year ago with
Yes.
you, and this is how we met. But would you tell us a little bit about how you went into astrology? People love Magic Mike, by the way. People love Michael. When he started posting the videos, I've never seen someone have so quickly such a big following, and people. And he does like weekly and monthly live streams on the channel on Astrolada, or I don't know, my YouTube channel. And I never see bad comments. I only see thumbs up. I only see people loving you. It's like your energy is so positive and powerful. Can you tell us a little bit how you got into astrology? When did it happen? And
Thank
your
you.
path.
I really appreciate all that. I really appreciate the opportunity as well. I just love being able to receive all the love and support from everyone so far. But yeah, this journey has been definitely amazing. I always like to say astrology called me into the path. It really happened right around Jupiter transiting my first in Gemini. I was looking for answers. I didn't really know who I was, and I was still releasing old beliefs. I had, around this time, I had very seriously really explored Christianity and how that influenced my spirituality. And during that Jupiter in the first house transit is when I started watching horoscopes. I actually started watching your horoscopes first, and also KRS's channel. And when I had gotten a couple of natal readings, it kind of just opened my eyes to this new world. And I didn't even know, like, you had moon signs and rising signs, and I just got hooked ever since then and started studying and reading charts for people. And yeah, now.
Really? So you started by watching some of my videos. That's
Oh yeah.
awesome.
Before I was all like, oh, astrology is of the devil. Like, I didn't even pay it any mind. But when I started watching it, I think 2013, 2014, your videos are like one of the first I would see the prognoses and all this stuff.
But it must be coming naturally to you so powerfully, because you seem to have such depth of astrology for having been involved with astrology for a relatively short period, and people just love tuning in to watch your videos. It's I guess it's a natural God-given talent. And I remember when we were looking at your chart, you had really powerful media indications for success in media, and by talking to people, and that's how it starts seeming to be all coming together now.
Absolutely.
What were you were ascendant in Gemini, or and you had Taurus, moon in Taurus, was it? So
Oh no, it's, my ascendant is like at the tail end of Taurus at 27 degrees, and then my moon is actually Capricorn.
yeah, I can feel that Taurus in you. It's like the stable, earthing, grounded energy. And the moon is in Capricorn, you said.
Yeah, it's like right conjunct Saturn, actually.
Really? Wow. You don't look gloomy and dull.
Thank you.
Wow. Oh, yeah. And just to say, I'm trying to find. Can you tell me how I can see the comments? How do you take them? the live chat. I'm trying to see how to get it there, how to see it, but
Oh, okay. Are you on the actual video?
I'm on live control room, but I can't see it.
Oh, okay. If there's usually a link to the actual video you can open, and then it'll show you the.
Oh well, you look at the questions, then I can't seem to find them.
If you want, I can also send you a link to the video, so you'll be able to. I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Perfect.
That way, when you open it, it'll show you our video and then the live comments as well.
Perfect. Okay, I'm trying to sorry guys, bear with me. Because I just discovered recently that on Google Hangouts there are comments.
Sweet.
Oh, sure. So do I go to live control room or
For the,
I don't see?
oh, okay. No. When like when you click the link to the actual video that's airing, you'll see us speaking live, and then on the right you'll see like the comments. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, you're coming at it from the actual channel page.
Okay, I'm not gonna bother people with this. So instead, you watch them.
Were you still in the live control room?
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. We'll just you look and you can. I seem to be not so good with technology, but wow. So you started during your Jupiter transit, and that's pretty. It was your. Yeah, that's pretty. That's when I started. I had my Jupiter return. So usually astrology, getting into astrology is when you have some powerful Jupiter transit, because astrology is about the higher knowledge, and Jupiter brings us clarity, helps us answer questions
Okay.
that we have about the bigger picture. So would you tell us, we're going to talk about solar return charts. First, I want to tell what solar return charts are. This is the horoscope an astrologer erects every year on your birthday. Sometimes it's a day before your birthday, sometimes exactly on the day, sometimes the day after. This is exactly the moment when the sun returns to the same degree and minute as it's in the chart in your own horoscope. And this chart, you can see what's going to happen in the next 1 year. So this is a very powerful predictive method that is used by astrologers. And it kind of, some astrologers use the relocated time. Do you use relocated place of living? Because, for example, you might be born in USA, but you might live in France, and your birthday might be there. Do you use that?
Yes, I use the location I was when my birthday happened, or when the solar return happens, and lunar return.
Yeah, so you do it. Okay, because some astrologers I've seen, they do, even if you go somewhere on holiday specifically for solar return charts, they'll use the place where you live actually. Or some astrologers, you use the place that you were born in. I personally use the place always where I was born in, because this chart works powerfully, because you can't escape your fate. Like, you're born in one place and it's kind of the solar return. I always look at both charts. I look at if you're relocated somewhere and you have your birthday there, and also at the birth chart. And mine seems to work very strongly with the place of birth.
I'm gonna experiment with that actually.
Yeah, try it, because that's what my teacher taught me. He said, this is the main chart. The way you are born, this is what matters.
Okay.
But anyway, would you walk us through what methods do you use? What do you look for solar return? And lunar return chart is to see the month ahead. You erect a chart for exact moment when the moon comes back to the exact degree, its birth position, which happens around 12 times every year. So you can erect 12 lunar return charts. And you offer actually such a service, solar return and lunar return charts, on the website. So I thought that maybe you're the best person to speak to us about solar and lunar return.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I definitely do offer solar and lunar returns. For those interested too, if you do order, you will get a free question just to let y'all know. But yeah, some techniques I like to employ, I'll actually show an example of a solar return chart. And like you said, you can pull 12 lunar return charts as well, depending on when your lunar return happens, right? But as far as certain techniques, let me pull up an example of a chart right now. I like to, of course, look at the snapshot of what's going on when you see the chart. And let me know if you actually see it right now. It says I'm screen sharing. It's showing the chart?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so yeah. So this is an example of my friend's chart here. He recently had his birthday in Scorpio season. So I read it like a natal chart. The first thing I look at is the moon. and I look at the rising sign, because the moon will tell you the focus of what this year out for is. So it's in Aquarius for him in the 7th house. He actually this year moved to California temporarily for a graduate program. So he's having to, you know, during this year socialize with people. Even though it's more for study, he's actually having to connect with people in his environment. He actually, I don't want to disclose too much of his business, but, you know, it's squaring Scorpio. So he actually isn't liking Cali. He wants to move back. But, you know, these are certain issues you see in the solar return chart. And then what's great about it is, especially when you get a reading with me, I will look at all these planet points, and like, let's say during Aquarius season, we're going to look at when the sun transits his solar return moon.
So you use transits to on the chart of the return, and you see when it's going to be activated, basically.
Yeah, I kind of see them as like, since this is a return, this is like the goodies that the sun is giving you for this year. So I kind of see when planets transit these points, it might trigger some lessons based off that. And then of course, you also want to apply that to the current transits, and then of course to your natal chart as well, maybe progressed, which would be interesting. So I know an applied way, here's another example. Like for me, for my solar return chart, interestingly, I changed it to my birthplace, which is in Phoenix. Is this the same chart? Yeah. This is the one, I was in El Paso, and this is in Phoenix. Thankfully, it doesn't change too much because the time zone does change the rising sign. But yeah, this solar return chart for me, of course, is, you know, being more in the public with the 10th house and rediscovering a new identity, which so far I can see playing out with Magic Mike, right? So,
oh my God, look at that. It's amazing, this chart, because it has everything on the angles, so many planets on angles. They say these are some of the most important years. You can click ahead and check out all your years. But when they say when there are planets on angles, like you have Mercury on close to the angle, Moon, Jupiter on the angle, Mars, and Saturn as well, and Neptune, and we can include the Sun and Venus in the 10th house. This is a powerful chart, everything on angles. When planets in the solar return charts in angles, according to all the astrological texts, I like to read medieval kind of texts in astrology, this is when the wheel of fortune spins and your new beginnings. The angles indicate new beginnings. So it's kind of, indeed, as you said, also reinvention with your with you know, with your how you present yourself, new beginnings in career, new beginnings in your personal life as well. I see, like, every time so many planets are on angles in the solar return chart, there is like big changes that happen. And look, it's like a grand square.
yeah,
happening. How are you feeling within?
that's a great question. I for some reason didn't really even I didn't necessarily notice the square, the angle parts. I noticed the sun and the other one, but it's everything you said is exactly what I'm feeling. Like, this definitely feels like a faded year where I'm making a lot of changes to my identity and how I present myself, and I can feel it as far as like, I can feel myself expanding. I know I'm growing and whatnot. So it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, Jupiter in the 1st house of your chart, that's for sure, is growing and expanding. And Mercury conjunct the midheaven, the 10th house cast. This is about media. This is about communicating in media, basically.
And
okay, yeah, here it is. Mercury rules all media, anything to do with communications, and we see it's angular day in your 10th house of career. This is a very powerful chart, by the way.
I'm surprised I didn't notice that at first. I didn't notice the Mars and the Mercury, interestingly enough. But yeah, that's very, and it's stuff like that. Like, at first I wasn't necessarily aware that it was really that significant until you had mentioned that with your chart about the 7th house aspects. And now that I'm really looking into it, like, I've always known it was relevant, but now, like, to actually experience it, which I think I experience it more now because these angles are being hit, so it's more directly apparent. But yeah,
it's very powerful chart. Someone is asking how to get a solar return chart. Can I demonstrate to people? I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to show how I get solar return charts.
Absolutely.
Just a second. Share. Does it allow to show?
Yeah, I can see your screen share now.
Okay, so you have to go to astro.com, guys. They have best, really correct charts. Do you see that I'm on astro.com or no?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
they are the best.
And then you go to free horoscope and click on the extended chart selection. And then choose, here, I'll choose my horoscope and I'll show you. You enter your details, of course, and you have to go on please select chart type. And you go there and you look for solar return chart. Here it is, solar return chart, you choose it. I'm choosing one for 2016, but you can go back and check previous years. You can check 2013 or 2019, you know, forward or backwards. So you sure you can see the screen when I'm showing this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And then you click here to show chart. And I'm going to demonstrate my solar return chart. This is for my, I've given a Melbourne time of reference. Sorry. You have to, it's usually set on the reference place. There's reference place if you want to put it for the place where you're currently living. Otherwise, I use birth time and I click continue. So select solar return chart here. And here is my chart from my, and this chart is actually from the birthday 2016 to the birthday 2017, basically.
They're saying that they cannot see your screen now. I can see it though, so I don't think it's an issue with your actual screen share. But
wait, I clicked something. Yeah, just a second. I clicked something so people can see only your screen.
Oh, okay.
Here, now, hopefully they see it. This is, so this is astro.com. You go to free horoscopes and you go to extended chart selection here. You select it, you know, and then I'll show you again. Extended chart.
They can see it.
Then I've chosen ladder. You can put your birth details, whatever. And then you go to please select the chart type. And I go here and I select the solar return chart. And there is lunar return chart if you want, but I'm just pulling solar return chart. And here, if you don't want to use your place of birth for the solar return chart, you can just click modify reference place and put the place where you're living in. But once you have that, click here, show chart. And this is for 2016, the solar return for my birthday till 2017. And if you can see the ascendant lord, which have to be looked at as well, which is the sun is in the 9th house with Uranus, the planet of big changes, in the 9th house of foreign countries. So I relocated. So that's a big, you know, big indication for relocation when the lord of the chart is in the 9th or in the 9th house, faraway countries. And started making all those interviews and classes and webinars because Mercury is conjunct the midheaven. Midheaven is career. Mercury is media presence. And for the first time, I'm doing interviews and classes and webinars. So that's, you know, that's how your Mercury is as well. It's there on the midheaven. So you're becoming a media figure now. Nice. And my money increased a lot. I'm not bragging, but look, Jupiter in that chart is conjunct the 2nd house cusp. It's in the 2nd sign from ascendant, and the Rahu is there as well. Both points of increase, big increase and big growth. I think my income doubled twice, which is like, wow.
So the ruler of your 2nd house would also be near your midheaven too. So
yeah, the money goes to 10th house. So it's Mercury. It's connected to media, communication, and it's next to the career house. So it is kind of it shows a lot of things actually. And in the previous year, I separated from my partner. If I go back to chart selection, you can see how I have Saturn day in the 7th house. I'm not going to show too much in here. But anyway, I wanted to show how it works. Often, if you have Saturn in the 7th house or in the 5th house, from the ascendant of the solar return charts can indicate changes in relationships, like separation, for example. It's very common to see that. And I would advise you to also look to whole sign house system. So if you have, for example, even if an equal house system shows that Saturn is in your 4th house, but it's in the 5th sign from the ascendant, consider it also as being in the 5th sign from ascendant. So that works. Whole sign system. This is the oldest system. One sign equals one house. It's very powerful to check it as well.
So do you find that the whole, because I've heard a lot of good things about the whole sign system. I just wasn't, I've heard more people say it's actually more accurate that way. I've just been sticking with Placidus on the safe side, but
yeah, well, house cusps also work. They were used in ancient astrology, just like Vedic astrology has something called Bhava cusps. This is a house system with the house cusp. But topically, if you want to see how something it's in your life, let me give an example again here. I'll just show my birth chart, so for people to see. Share screen. This is my birth chart, and if you see how Mercury, Mars, Sun, and Venus all fall, according to Placidus, in the 2nd house. You see, 2nd house, which means that I should be obsessed with money, work for material things. I never cared about money. I do money, but money's never been a motivation for me. So psychologically, this doesn't I've looked at charts and it doesn't work. And then that I should be obsessed with the money of my husband and partner because my other 3 planets are in the 8th house of other people's resources, which is just not the case. But if you come from ascendant, 1, 2, 3, all those planets fall in the 3rd sign from ascendant. This is whole sign house system. And all those 3 planets fall in the 9th sign from ascendant, which is the 9th and 3rd house. And I'm all about teaching, studying, writing, higher education, teaching others, foreign countries. I've lived for years in foreign countries, which is 9th house. And I travel, 9th and 3rd house are about travel. Every month I travel at least to one country. So otherwise it does not show at all with the unequal house system, I'm just using my chart because it's very blatant because all the planets are focused just on this area. And that's why whole sign system is very about topical, like because the ascendant is you and how you relate to the experience. So counting from the ascendant, this is how these planets will relate to how you personally perceive reality. This is the ascendant. This is how it connects to your path in life, to your physical manifestation. So these planets relate to my ascendant as 3rd house planets. Because even when I'm taking a break, I'm studying, I'm reading. I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and I open and I start reading. I go on social media. I start writing, speaking. This, all 3rd house teaching, and it's powerful. You should, and also use the house cusp, especially the 1st, the 7th, the 10th, and the 4th. They're powerful to use because they are points of where the horizon is the house cusp is of the 1st, and the highest point where the sun reaches during the day is this line here, the 10th house cusp. So it definitely defines career, the midheaven, the 10th house cusp. And you see I have Uranus here, which rules astrology, which rules internet, which rules, so my career immediately gets connected to astrology, to internet. So I do use both.
Oh, so you use both, okay.
Yeah, I use the house cusp. When there are transits to house cusp, you feel them because they're specific points of manifestation. But according to ancient astrology, they don't separate the houses. The house cusps are not like the points that separate the houses. They're just points of powerful, focused energy of manifestation. Actually, the topical is what shows topics and situations is the whole sign system, basically.
That's really interesting. I like how in the whole sign system you're able to see, it'll show you your AC and your MC, and it'll in the houses. So it kind of like incorporates both in a way.
Yeah, guys, you can even go to astro.com and choose the house system, and you can choose in the extended chart selection and choose whole sign system and look at it like that. It's simple, it's lean, and you know, people born, for example, in Sweden or in northern latitudes, they can have 3 house cusps in the same sign, and it means that there's no houses, no planets in other, you know, the houses. So it's kind of it just starts breaking down the unequal house system in northern latitudes. But now let's get back to solar return charts. What else do you look at?
Well, I think it's really important that you mentioned the Lord ruler. That's definitely really important for lunar returns. Well, for solar returns, I look at the 10th house, the ascendant, and the moon. I look at, like I said, the transits to the planet points. But then the next thing I look at, of course, are, like you had mentioned, the Lord rulers of the cusps, and now how the special, you know, transits or aspects to planets will affect things. That's just to get like a deeper look, let's say. But yeah, as far as solar return, if no patterns really stick out to me, that because some solar returns you'll just see it like this is where the universe is taking you this year. But yeah, I like to look at the especially the moon, where the focus is, and then just certain the ascendant and the midheaven, just to see a direction of where it's headed. And of course the north node, because that'll also show you this year's destiny for you.
Yeah, as you said, some solar return charts, lunar, this very clear, like all the planets are gathered in the 8th house or the 9th house. So, but for others, they're dispersed everywhere. This is, but if they're close to angles, guys, be care. If there are planets close to this MC, the black line, to IC, very close before or even after, be care of changes. If there are many planets in the falling house, in the what's it called? Fixed houses, which is 2nd, 8th, 11th, and 5th. It means that this year, it's not about new beginnings. This year, if most of the planets are there, it's about maintaining something you started. It's about continuing in a certain direction that you've already started, consolidating, maintaining. And if there are lots of planets in falling houses, like the 9th, like the 12th, the 3rd, and the 6th, this is a year of ending certain things. This is a year of completing things. This is a year maybe of learning, of preparing, of kind of researching different alternatives, so to speak.
Could you repeat the 2nd, 8th, and 11th house? What happens if you have those?
If you have many planets in the 2nd, 8th, or 11th, because these are fixed houses, so it means consolidation, continuing something in the same direction you've already started, and continuing in kind of consolidating. This is about all those 4 houses, 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th, is about maintaining, consolidating, continuing, building upon, and some charts will have a bit of everything. Just some specific charts really stand out, so you can click quickly ahead into 5-10 years and see which years do you have many planets on angles, like you do for this year, for your birthday. This is a year of big changes in your life. Which years you have many planets in falling houses, like the 9th, the 3rd, the 12th. You're preparing for something, you're letting go of something. You might be traveling, you might be studying a lot, researching things, because these are houses of travel, of research, almost like preparing your mind. And when there are many planets in the 2nd, 8th, 12th, 11th, and 5th, this is a year of definitely staying put and continuing to build upon what you've started before. But most charts, all the return charts, will have planets everywhere, in the first, in angular, in falling houses, in fixed houses, and you have to read them as they come. Basically, they might not be the peak and most, the topic might not be, theme might not be so clear, but still you get some idea about it.
Yeah.
Tell us more. How else do you do charts?
Um, yeah. Well, someone had asked too for lunar, which we'll talk soon about, but the lunar return. They had asked if lunar return was just for the year, for the month, and it's for the month, whereas of course the solar is for the whole year. But as far as extra techniques, I'm still looking into better ones. There's still so much more to look into, especially with incorporating a different house system.
Yeah.
Normally, certain things will kind of point out that I'll do that I won't do for other charts just because of special angles. Like if I know, once again, tied to like a Lord ruler, if it's going through a crazy transit currently, then I'll just focus on that and I won't even, mention most of the other chart until you have a clear grasp on that. But yeah, when we talk about the lunar return reports, though, there definitely that's definitely interesting, being that it covers a shorter period of time. But,
Yeah. It's just for 1 month.
Yeah, definitely quick.
Yeah. And I've never worked with lunar return charts. How do they work?
Yeah, that lunar return charts is another field that definitely pikes my interest, because like we said, it's not as long. So I used to think it wasn't as important, or you might not be able to and I'll pull up an example right now, but to really gauge it. But yeah, I've realized it is a good snapshot of how you feel, and it'll help you understand, while you're aware of the current transits and how it'll affect your sun and your rising. This will actually help you really understand at a great level how to look at those same aspects and understand at a greater level how you feel. So let me screen share this really quick. One of the most important things, of course, to keep in mind about, wrong date. December. Yeah. Well, actually, let me just show the process. So when you go on astro.com and you pull up your lunar return, you can see the astro, right?
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, so you have the lunar return. I have the whole size, so we'll experiment with that. But so it's November 29th, and when I pulled the chart up, it actually pulls my last lunar return date. And I'm actually basing this on my place of birth. But yeah, so in order for those of you who may want a more updated one, because it's gonna wait until the actual day your moon returns. So since it hasn't happened yet, since the moon is in Sagittarius, it's showing me my lunar return from the last month. I'm about to finish mine. So
you have Mars conjunct Moon. Who was annoying you this month? Who was stretching?
Yeah, I see it's in the 8th too, so I know this month has a lot of deep emotional exploration. Yeah, it had a lot.
Or delving deeply into astrology as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, this month has just been very definitely 8th house occult vibes, but just understanding it's interesting. This is the first time I'm looking at this lunar return report for this report, but yeah, it's making pretty good sense. When I look at these, I like to look at the IC as well, since that's also the emotional nature. So so we've seen the whole signs. Let me actually pull up the Placidus, because this is what you want. I want to see the actual degree of the cusp, because what helps, of course, is the IC with your emotional nature. Okay, this one actually puts it into Leo, which once again brings up that issue you said, like it gives Cancer 2 houses. And this is what makes me want to do whole signs sometimes, because it's like, can you really have an MC shift like that? But either way, this IC has it at Leo, and this has it at Virgo. I naturally have an IC in my natal chart, which is interesting. But so I'll look at this. Let's say this is your chart or someone else's chart, and I'll see that the IC doesn't necessarily blend with the moon. So this is a lunar return cycle where you have to, in this example, balance, the core, your IC, I'm going to react to things in a Leo way, but I'm still going to feel them in the Capricorn way. And that's that passion and groundedness. But I could also see with this chart, it has the IC, you know, strictly at Virgo, or not the IC technically, but the fourth.
No, it's the fourth house, yeah.
So yeah, with the Virgo fourth house and the Capricorn moon, I will say this lunar return cycle, I've been a lot more grounded and focused on the details of how I feel. So I would even say this whole sign is a little bit more accurate now, and especially with the AC still in Gemini. This
I'll still look at the IC. It works powerfully. Both the IC and the equal house fourth, they both.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen also transit. Say a transit happens to the IC. The cusp of the IC, something happens. You relocate, like say Uranus transit your IC. You relocate to a different country or something, and then Uranus transit the fourth house, the equal house. It means it kind of squares your ascendant, and then again something happens in regards to your place of living. So both of them work, both those systems. So it's good to look at both of them.
And I just realized now it actually has the MC point on here too, which is great. Okay, that's really good. Okay, so so knowing this too, I'm also going to look at the IC and the fourth house, and then compare those two. So
and that's for the lunar return only. You look at the IC.
Yeah, I focus a lot on that because this is, you know, even though I'm gonna have the Capricorn moon, even though I have the Capricorn moon lesson, which the lunar return is focused on this. So you could even put the moon as the first house. So this lunar return is all about me being aware of my 8th house Capricorn identity. But even though I have the Capricorn moon that's going to be reserved, I have to blend that with how I'm going to react emotionally, which is with pride, with courage, with love, and mixing that passion with the stuff. Of course, it'll be challenging because, you know, I want to react stably to things, or, you know, detach instead of passionately engaging. But when I do both, it kind of dynamically helps. And then, of course, the sun is really important. Of course, 6th house Scorpio. This was a whole lot about me getting my lifestyle and behavior in order. But since this is a lunar return chart, how did I feel about it? And I was feeling about transforming. This month and cycle has been a lot about really changing and transforming how I feel about certain relationships, but then also, you know, certain connections. This is where the 8th house comes in with that Neptune nebulous stuff.
Venus conjunct Saturn as well.
Definitely. I've definitely been more focused on relationships this past 2 days too, since the moon is in Sagittarius.
Oh, triggering it, yeah. So for lunar return, you'd look when the moon transits.
Yes.
And for solar return, you would look when the sun transits for the triggers.
You know what? That's a very good question. I focus on the moon for lunar and I focus on the sun for solar, but I also like to be aware of the, actually, yeah, I was going to say I like to be aware of the sun, but the sun isn't going to travel as much. Like, for example, the sun traveled just from Scorpio to Sagittarius, so it's still relevant. But yeah, definitely I look at the moon because it'll really give you a nice snapshot. And then, of course, I also like to give you dates on exactly when the moon triggers the points so that you can be aware of, let's say, how it influences you.
So you're saying that currently now the moon is transiting your Sagittarius, so it's triggering relationship issues because Sagittarius falls in the 7th house for you, where you have Venus and Saturn. Did someone break up with you?
It's very interesting because and this goes into that whole Capricorn 8th house stuff. Like I feel a connection to a certain Capricorn lady, right? I'm single, but I'm having to make a very important decision about letting go of, you know, being more serious about, you know, how I'm going to express my attachments. I guess the 8th house is helping me be independent of it, but the moon in Sagittarius is kind of showing me now. I think it's preparing me for a relationship. Actually, I think I might not be single.
Look, Venus with Saturn in the 7th house, it means you're reconsidering, reevaluating relationship. in
Yeah.
a serious matter. In a serious matter. So that's, and the moon triggers it now. So you no longer will be single.
I hope so. That'll be interesting. But even if I am, like you said, it really is making me reevaluate it and taking it a lot more seriously. I'm having to decide how I can let go and open space in my heart to let one in. And then for those of you, one last thing before we talk more about it, let's say you wanted to know the next one moving ahead. You just kind of, you don't have to put the exact date, but if you put the date after it'll happen, I just went a month ahead. Now it's going to show me my lunar return chart for this cycle. And this is when the sun is going to be 11 degrees Sagittarius in a couple of days. And now I'll be going, the next month looks like I'll be going through some fifth house stuff.
Love, dating. Oh, sweet loving. Moon conjunct Venus.
Oh no.
Indulging.
So before it was on Mars, now it's on Venus. That's interesting.
I know. And it's with Pluto, it's gonna be intense sex. Huh? I hope your girlfriend's not watching.
I hope, well, yeah. We'll see.
And look, there'll be money. Jupiter in the second house. Your finances increase. That's great.
And I see the sun area is like right on the IC too. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Opposite the IC.
So yeah, I'll definitely be mindful of how all that plays out. But yeah, it's I'm glad we even did this webinar because I know personally it's kind of like reminded me the importance of checking up on this stuff, because you could look at your current transits, but you know, the solar and lunar return does reveal just that extra bit of detailed information.
Yes, because there's so many different astrology techniques. I mean, you can use Babylonian, Egyptian, and I, as an astrologer, forget to use all of them. And it's just one of them that sometimes really shows it in perspective. And this is how important the solar and lunar returns are. I usually just look at solar ones, but you can see quite clearly themes with the lunar return as well, like you've demonstrated now. So yeah, that's one of the methods, guys. This is not the answer to all, but it can show so clearly things. And I wanted to just mention something about the solar returns, because I'm experienced more with solar returns, how to judge them. Do you mind if I kind of, yeah, because it's about you, this video, but I'm kind of get excited about sharing certain things. So please forgive me, guys, if you think I'm interrupting Michael. I'll give him the word.
No, please, thank you.
Because he's unlocking some things that, so I want to show you the screen share. I want to show you what are very important years, how you can see very important years of new beginnings in your life. And I give you as an example, when I started my business, and that's the year 2010, from 2010 my birthday to 2011 my birthday. As you can see, there is absolutely nothing on angles. Just Mars is close here. So you wouldn't look at it and see, okay, new beginnings here. But that was the year that changed my life. And why is that? Because there was a new moon on my birthday. You see, when there is a new moon, when the sun and moon are together in the solar return chart. Basically, if they're within the same sign, 10 degrees before or after, if on your birthday you see for that year sun and moon together, this is a huge year. And I've checked it over and over in the horoscopes of clients. This is like, it's the universe is making new beginnings for you. Why is it new beginnings? Because the sun and moon, the father and mother, join together on your birthday in the sky to create new life. And for me, it was connected to my business because they fall in the third sign from the ascendant, you see? The equal third house, which is to do with media, which is to do with writing, speaking. I did my website then. I started making videos for YouTube, which is all third house stuff. And I started doing horoscopes, written reports, you know, and teaching skills. That's all connected to third house and media. You see how the equal house system works perfectly, you know. And it's basically check out ahead or go back into your life and check when there was a new moon on your birthday. This will indicate new beginnings, especially in regards to where the new moon is falling in that chart.
Wow.
And also, years that are extremely important and empowering for the person are those when the ascendant of your birth chart is the same as the ascendant of the solar return chart, because it means that the houses repeat in the solar return chart and in your birth chart, which indicates like you fulfilling the promise of your birth chart and you coming into your own power. It's like a double whammy first house influence, that it's kind of you're into your own water, so to speak. And the solar return chart aligns with your birth chart with the same ascendant. Say, for example, your last degrees of Taurus ascendant. When the same year that you have the ascendant close to there in your solar return charts to Taurus, this will be a powerful year or a month, I guess, for empowerment. You coming to the surface, you fulfilling the promise of your horoscope. So that's another way to pay attention. Pay attention if there is a full moon or new moon, new beginnings. If the ascendant corresponds of the solar return chart to the ascendant in the birth chart, which means empowerment, you coming into power, you fulfilling promise of your horoscope. And you can also look at the relationship between the sun and the moon. If the moon is growing in that chart, let me give you back to chart selection some examples. Let's see, 2011, click share. And you see the moon is growing in that chart for me, 2011, the next year. Growing means it's, I don't know if people know what it means, but if on your birthday, on your solar return chart, the moon is growing, it means you're growing something that year. You're continuing, if you started something new in the previous year, you're continuing to grow it and you can see material results out of it. And this is exactly how it happens. But if the moon is decreasing, say if the moon is beyond the opposition with the sun, say if the moon was somewhere here in this part of the horoscope, it's a waning moon on your birthday. When there is a waning moon on your birthday, you're completing something. You might be ending something, And if there is a full moon on your birthday, let me show you another example. When there was a full moon, this is when the moon is exactly opposite the sun. I think that was it. No, that wasn't. That was my previous year to this birthday, moon decreasing. So this is a decreasing moon, you see. It's beyond the part of opposition with the sun. So it's decreasing. So I was wrapping something up. I was ending things. So I ended up living in the UK. And around my birthday, I relocated to another country. And I ended so many things in my life. And I was working mostly on old projects, completing old projects that I've started the previous year rather than starting totally new ones. But there was a full moon before that, the previous year. So that's something coming to fruition. When the solar return chart, there is full moon. You see the moon is opposite the sun. It doesn't have to be exact, but you see this sun opposition moon. There is some kind of you seeing the results of your actions, something coming to full bright light, some kind of a fruition. This is what the moon is, the full moon is about. Fruition, seeing the results of your actions, seeing something manifesting in a powerful way. So I just wanted to show that because I think it's very important.
How about squares?
Sorry?
How about when it squares? Does that follow the more the waning and waxing, like if it squares the sun?
Yeah, it's gonna be more hard if it squares. But look, if it's a square, that if it's a waning moon, growing moon, well, that's a creative crisis that pushes you to continue to grow something. You can start new things as well. While the moon is growing, start them, they'll grow that year. If it's a square, it will be more stressful emotionally.
Okay.
If the moon is waning square, well, it's kind of a creative, a kind of a stress connected to letting go of something, completing something.
Interesting.
Yeah, these are things that I've noticed working with those charts, and They really stand out. They're very easy to notice. And there are so many methods for the solar and lunar solar returns that I work with. You also always have to check what is the ascendant of the solar return chart. For example, this year, for me, it's Leo, which falls in my 7th house in the birth chart. Always check where the ascendant of the solar return falls in your birth chart. For me, it's 7. Relationships, bam, immediately. A year of relationships, powerful relationships development, with the moon there conjunct the ascendant. Gets more complicated. Check out what the ascendant of the solar return chart conjuncts in your birth chart, if anything. This planet of a birth chart will be lit up, or that house that the ascendant of the solar return chart falls in will be lit up and will be such a big theme for you. So for me, it's in the 7th house, which is relationships, conjunct the moon. That's another topic. It has to do with relocation, with buying property, with home as well, and another topic. But so it definitely lifts up that theme of your horoscope, powerful way. If something of your birth chart is conjunct the ascendant of the solar return chart.
Okay.
Now, you tell us, give us more insights from how you use solar return charts, because there are many different ways of using solar return charts. I just gave you my secrets and my tips, but every astrologer has different ones. So
I really think, especially with your tips, I think we covered most of it. I was gonna actually add something on to what you said. Like I was gonna say it, but then you actually mentioned it, and that was about the rising sign and where it falls in your chart. I was gonna mention for the lunar and the solar, like it's important to know based on your lunar and solar return chart, like where the sun and the moon also fall in your natal chart, so and you can like combine that.
Oh, can you show us? Because I haven't done that. I've never used that method, but it sounds like it's very relevant.
Yeah, it really helped me understand even if it's for just regular transits as well. So like this lunar return, I got the sun in Sagittarius and the moon in the 5th. So since in my natal chart Sagittarius is my 8th house cusp, but it's my 7th house, I guess it's also my 8th house too, but yeah, so now I'm aware of my, but in the 4th house way. So now I have to deal with living with partners or understanding, since the 4th house is about understanding, I have to understand the relationships in my life. And this is what will get me now into my feet, or it's going to make me aware about how I feel about the relationships and what boundaries I put in. And then, of course, the solar return chart will be different because your sun will always be the same place. But I had mine in the 10th house, and as a 2nd house, well, yeah, since my sun is in the 2nd house in the equal signs, this is me, of course, for the solar year, taking my ability to reach out to the world. And of course, personally to me, this is still about how I'm developing my self-worth and manifesting. And then of course, since it's in the Placidus, it's the 1st house sun, it's still like, thankfully they're all angles. But yeah, I always look at how the houses play to your natal chart. And I always give the natal chart the preference so that
basically, just what it means is that the solar return charts highlights and triggers that area of your life, but it plays out as it's in your birth chart.
yes.
Okay, so you use it as a almost like timing, showing this year this theme is activated from my birth chart. So your chart doesn't change; it's there.
Just like how you said, the Leo rising in the solar return chart will be in your 7th house. So at the outset, it's about relationships.
Yeah.
And that's what the solar return chart is making you aware of based on your birth chart.
Yeah, exactly. I've noticed that when someone has the solar return chart ascendant falls in the 12th house, like basically highlights the 12th house of their birth chart, or the 6th, or the 8th. These are difficult years, guys. And I would use whole sign system. But they're difficult because these are the difficult houses. And this is your birth chart. Say you have ascendant in Virgo, and in your solar return chart, your ascendant falls in the solar return chart in Leo, the sign before Virgo, which means that you trigger your 12th house of the birth chart with the solar return chart. Or if you're Virgo ascendant, if the ascendant of the solar return falls in Aquarius, it will trigger your 6th house. Or if it falls in Aries, it will trigger your 8th house. Equal house system, whole sign house system.
12, 6, and 8.
12, 6, and 8. These years are difficult. If it's the 8th, some power struggles, fighting with your inner demons. There might be death that happens as well. Not yours, but some kind of death, a big transformation out of the blue. 8th house rules like sudden changes in life out of the blue, you know. 6th house, enmity, struggling, maybe some health issues you have to work with. 12th house, you might feel stuck because it's a house of dissolution, dissolving, ending. I've seen people relocate to foreign countries. 12 houses to do with foreign countries. When the ascendant lord of the solar return falls, is the same as the sign in your 12th house. Sometimes, in the worst case scenario, I've seen someone go to prison, 12th house. Another person had to stop working, and 12th house is about resting, letting go. Another one when traveling the world. All those 12 houses were brought to the surface, you know. And it's not necessary that the worst thing will happen to you, you know, when the 6, 8, and 12 are triggered. But they're just more difficult. They're just more kind of... those years are a little bit more psychologically challenging as well, and outer events challenging.
Interesting. That's really good to know. And then, of course, the 5th house and the 1st house, those will be more fun and encouraging. Nice.
Yeah, you can have love affairs when it's, say, you're the ascendant lord of the solar return, the ascendant of the solar return falls in your 5th house. You can turn some creative hobby. You can have a child. When I was having Gemini as the ascendant of my solar return, which falls in my 5th house in the birth chart, I was like, ooh, a baby. But it wasn't a baby. I just 5th house is I just developed creatively my business. I developed new programs and things like that, and it's fun again. It was about creativity and playing and having fun. So
the project was like your child.
Yeah, exactly. That's why 5th house rules. If you work for yourself, it will rule your work. Even if you clean toilets but you're self-employed, this is your business. You have to make stickers, you have to make advertisements for it, you have to creatively present yourself. Or if you're, you know, this is kind of, it's still 5th house is for me, it's self-employment. And being free from working for the man, which is the 6th house, being employed for someone. 5th house is more like you having the creative choices with your actions. So that means you're freelancing or you're working for yourself on some project, so you have to use your own ideas to move things forward.
Nice. That's interesting.
Tell us more about solar returns. I want to see your methods. I keep hogging up the space. I'm sorry, it's my Aries and Leo.
No, thank you. I've gained a lot of techniques in this short conversation, so I'm definitely grateful. Honestly,
they're very easy.
yeah, I'm going to pay more attention to those ascendant lords for sure. They're definitely very revealing. Yeah, I honestly, those are really all the techniques I like to use. Honestly, I could, as far as more techniques, I would really go into now, like, depending on the season you're reading and how that's affecting the house. Once again, like juxtaposing that as well in your natal chart. Oops. Yeah, juxtaposing that in your natal chart so that you're seeing how it affects your birth chart. And then I might go, and then of course, like we said, mixing the whole signs with the Placidus too, I like to combine those. But As far as other techniques, those are, I basically named all the standard ones. There, of course, as we said, like infinite techniques and astrology charts and whatnot too. So you could always, that's what I love about stuff like this. It's always easy to like literally implement new or updated techniques as well. But I do feel a need to mention and reiterate the importance of looking at the proximity of points to cusps and angles in the chart, because they definitely do help define a whole lot of the lessons, for sure. I know, like for my solar return chart, I got to find out a lot about who I truly am just because of the proximity to the moon on the ascendant. So yeah.
And Mercury. So any planet conjunct an angle becomes super powerful for that year. Mercury, media, you're starting to be YouTube sensation now. People can't wait. They're like, I want more of Mike. I want more of like, when is Mike coming online? And Mercury basically immediately, or you might be into business when Mercury is angular, the business, you'll be so focused on business. Mercury rules business overall.
No, it's so
studying.
Because I'm studying business this January.
Oh,
hit the nail on the head.
Well, wonderful. And it's in Taurus, so you'll be making, this will help you make money.
It's definitely aligned to my career path.
Yeah, or if you have the Mars on an angle, okay, like you have Mars on an angle as well. It's in your 4th house, so there might be some things at family at home. When you start living with your girlfriend.
Oh my gosh. You're getting prophetic here. That's interesting.
You can get a little general at home who's trying to tell you what to do.
Keep that in mind.
A little, but it's Mars is in Scorpio, so it's strong there. It can indicate changes in your living environment, because Mars is all about changes. So definitely some big changes in your living circumstances, you know.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's in Scorpio, and during Scorpio season, I moved from my apartment and I'm a roommate now in the house, and it happened there.
Well, that's it. Your girlfriend doesn't have to bust your balls then.
I don't have a girlfriend yet, but I have a feeling you're not saying that for no reason. I might get lucky tonight. We'll see.
You might have to change and move and live differently again.
Yeah, I feel it.
But you see how powerfully it plays out, how the planets next to angles indicate relocation. Mars in the 4th house for you, Mercury in the 10th house, studying something business and being in the media, connected to a career. And the moon in your 1st house is about finding who you're, reinventing also your personality. So it's a powerful tool. I should use it more often as well.
Same here. And I love how the transit specifically triggered it too.
I didn't know that, you know. You taught me this to look at I've never looked at that timing with transits on the solar returns and lunar returns. That's a great gem, guys. Remember this, and it does work. It does.
Yeah, and I didn't take it seriously myself until you just, like, if you didn't point out the Mars and the Scorpio, I would have never noticed that I had moved exactly when the planets were transiting that Scorpio point.
Yeah, the sun. As we said for solar returns, you said it.
Oh,
solar
yes.
returns, look at the sun.
Yes.
And for lunar returns, look at the transits of the moon. My God. Yeah, I think astrology is a living science, because you don't like learn set rules. You continue learning every day, and you see, you even invent new methods, and you see what works and you go with it. And I'm learning a lot now. Yeah, I'll start looking at sun transit, lunar transit.
I'll definitely be more aware. And to answer a question, somebody asked if you run a solar return chart, does it run for the next 265 days? It runs from the 365 days from your birthday till your next birthday. Basically, the revolution. So, yeah.
from birthday to birthday. Yeah. And some people have heard that they travel, so the chart changes. So, for example, if there's going to be Saturn on an angle, they want to avoid this difficult, or the ascendant of the 12, the ascendant will fall in the 12th house or 6th. I don't know if this can help. Like, isn't it called cheating fate? I don't know if you're meant to.
I was going to ask
like,
you,
if your grandmother is supposed to die this year, you traveling to the Bahamas is not going to stop her from dying, you know.
and I wanted to ask you that, which is why I'm glad you off the beginning had said that you just used the birthplace, because I was going to ask, like, could you cheat that? Could you like change it if you know, if I go to Las Vegas, I know Jupiter will be in my 5th, so I'll have better luck. I might even try to experiment with that, but yeah, I really do.
I haven't tried, you know, but I can't think, like, some things are fated.
Yeah.
And only the things that are fated, like who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna marry. Is that gonna be you marry someone? Is that gonna be you relocate? These big things that really decide your life.
Yeah.
I think they're already, no matter where you go and travel for your birthday, this is predetermined. It should show in your birthplace where you're born, from your birth position, you know. And
I'm gonna be using the birth position from now on.
Yeah, check it as well, because they also, other people from other schools, they say, yeah, but you know, you can change your fate when you relocate to a different place. It's true, because the energies change. You can look at relocated chart, how the area affects you there, but I'll still look at the solar return for your birthplace. I don't know. I'm kind of old school.
It's definitely worth it experimenting and looking into. I know perhaps maybe you can meet someone different if you move to a different place, but maybe the fate will still, even though they're different, they could be like the same type of person. So you still get the same lesson. But still, it's all hypothetical at this point.
Yeah, if you're meant to relocate to a foreign country, it should be, say, that's a big change, fated change. It should be indicated in your birth chart rather than in the chart. If you're already living in a foreign country, that chart to show relocating. I don't know.
No,
I haven't experimented much with that, but because I was taught by my teacher, I looked at my charts with the relocation and at other people's charts, and you can see relevant things as well. But it's kind of the topics of the birthplace jump out stronger.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what other techniques do you use except solar returns, lunar returns, like astrological techniques that you love and that you keep seeing great results with?
Okay. Great question. I think now that you mention it, because there are a couple that I just immediately go to. Other than the houses, I just kind of like to. What I really like to do is one technique I like to do is kind of borrowing on the lords of houses, but I will really blend like or what I meant to say was, I'll look at your rising sign and I'll look at your sun, and then I like to blend the sun as the first house, and then the actual first house. So let's say you had second house Capricorn sun. I see that as a second house sun in the first house, and I like to blend those kind of energies. Normally, you know, that person, if they meet other Capricorns, they're going to be very Taurian, but I've been trying to kind of give an emphasis on the power of the sun. So let me actually pull up my chart once again.
To use it as an ascendant, basically, as the start of the chart.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll still acknowledge the ascendant and then juxtapose it there, but I always like to see, like, here's an example for, like.
Yeah, give me an example, because I'm trying to understand.
Especially using like this whole sign system, or even Placidus. So my moon is in the 9th house, and I've always felt that. Even down to the nature of my mom being very hard on me when it comes to the traditional religion. But since I'm a Gemini, even though through my life I've lived the moon in the 9th house, it's still an 8th house moon.
From the sun. Okay.
Yes. So now I have an 8th house moon in the 9th house.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's a stunning, really great that you've discovered this, because this is very rare. I've seen only one other astrologer do it, and she blew my mind off. She was someone that became a teacher of mine. Did you discover this for yourself? Because it's a stunning technique.
Yeah, it just kind of came to me one day, like last year. I think, yeah, it came to me last year. I just kind of experimented with trying it, but it kind of added a whole nother dimension. Yeah.
Absolutely. And even when you look at your transits, can you return your chart so I can
Yes.
demonstrate something to people?
Okay.
And it works so great, because I always say, when you're looking at your yearly horoscope, look at your ascendant sign and look at the transits from your sun sign. So you can blend both. For example, you're going to have Jupiter is transiting in Libra here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's going to be in the 5th sign from your sun, in the 5th house from your sun, but in the 6th house from your ascendant. So you can blend the Jupiter transit through your 6th and 5th house as well. So Jupiter will bring love affairs, you know, love coming into your life, you know, but it's also mixed, or 6th house as well. So 6th house is perfecting one's skills, is perfecting one, studying as an apprentice as well. But also 5th house is having your own business. So I'll blend both. Jupiter will bring opportunities to perfect your skills, to study something more, and also to create your own business, or to create your own personal kind of identity, which is 5th house. Or it can indicate a, you know, 6th house can indicate a change of routines, because you have a new relationship. 5th house is falling in love. Falling in love, starting something which changes your whole routines, and even starts changing your work, you know. So you can blend both.
Here's a real life example of that too. I have everything you said is spot on. And I have a Libra friend who is in that 6th house. So he's a photographer. Every time he used to shoot some of my videos. So that 5th house element as a Libra, when I go to him, he's in the studio, he's shooting for music. It's very creative for me. But since it's the 6th house, it's work.
Ah, wonderful. Yeah, so blending, every time something triggers your 5th house by transit, you'd react, you can blend both creativity and fun with work.
Yes.
Whether it's your friend that triggers it, or transit that triggers it. And it almost indicates in your life that work, 6th house, should be something you're passionate about and creative about.
Exactly.
So both, you look from the ascendant and from the sun. This is, and then this moon then falls in the 9th from the ascendant, and in the 8th from the sun. 9th is about higher knowledge. 8th is about occultism. Well, what more can we say? Mixing both.
I've always felt I've had a Mars in the 12th, but it was in the 11th. But now that it's whole signs, it makes sense now. So I do resonate with this system a lot more.
Yeah, it's powerful. I know it, according to Placidus, it falls in your 11th, but you know, it rules your 12. It rules the 7th house, which is relate. Have you got hidden relationships or private?
I forgot about that. You're right. Mars with the Scorpio, the 12th and the 7th.
It might indicate like either hidden relationships or relationships with someone foreign or different culture or ethnicity, or it can indicate a relationship with someone or hidden private relationships. Again, I repeat.
I have like no love life though, so maybe it might come later.
Yeah, okay. 12th house can indicate it's falling like out. For me, 12th house is like something being in a well, falling in a well, so it kind of disappears.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it's maybe in your fantasies, your love life.
Yeah, very much. I have imaginary girlfriends for sure.
Imaginary.
My Venus is in the 1st, but it's in the 12th in Placidus, so I really.
Oh wow, that's funny. But I love this technique. I think, you know, you should we should make a special video just speaking about this technique from looking from the ascendant and from the moon, because, or you should make like a video explaining to people, because this is such a eye opener.
Yeah, it goes in depth. It's very it adds a whole nother dimension for sure. Helps you, like, I always saw like the way I realized it was, I saw the sun as like, and I think I heard this from you in a previous video, but I saw the sun a long time ago. The sun is like your objective reality. It's what's real. It's what's happening, and then your ascendant is like the illusion. It's the veil, and it's how it personally works for you. But it's under your own perspective. But the sun is what's really happening. So let's say you got hit by a car, your rising sign will be, oh, I got hit by a car because I have bad luck, or because this, when the sun is like, you just got hit by a car. So it's like you get to see the objective, and then juxtaposing how it personally affects you. Just like as a Libra 5th house, I do creative stuff, but personally it's work for me because it's in the 6th house, or I like to blend.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to blend the meaning of those two houses, from sun and from ascendant. This is, it's amazing that you discovered it on its own. And I think only just looking at charts like that, it's like a brand new astrology branch that people should become aware of, because it does work in a powerful way. I love that technique. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Well, thank you for having me. This has definitely been fun.
Oh yeah, I've learned like about the transits to the solar return charts, and I've never done that. I'm gonna start doing it. And thank you so much, Michael. I'm sure that the more you are doing this, the more you'll be, it seems to, you're discovering principles with this powerful 9th house, Moon Day and Saturn. These are people who just not just learn things and repeat them, they discover principles themselves. 9th house is like the discoverer, or the person who sees underlying principles. That's why they create whole new systems. You can create astrology, you can see the truth, basically. And that's a true mark of a true astrologer, because most astrologers, which is not bad, they learn techniques and they repeat them, but you discover yourself underlining principle, you notice them, which is what the 9th house is, seeing how the small puzzles, the small different techniques fit, or discovering different new laws, how it works. That's anyone with planets in the 9th house, they are there to create principles and laws and new systems, and this is what you seem to be doing. And you're already a great astrologer. You have the biggest growth of followers I've seen. And I believe that in 10-15 years, when you're gray and you've had a girlfriend finally, you will be one of the top astrologers in the world, who you won't even need to read books to learn new things. You'll just work with charts and see what works there, rather than reading books to understand those things.
Thank you. That's one of my goals. I really do. You even helped me understand that 9th house dynamic. That makes so much sense. A whole lot. And I do want to thank you again, because just working for you and with you, like I've met, I think it's because, you know, you're in my 11th house, right? But well, 12th, 11th, but just working with you, I've met like the most amazing people that I wouldn't have met if I didn't have this opportunity. So I'm definitely.
Yeah, Placidus, the 11th house. Yeah. Well, 12th house is about, the mystical again. But yeah. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I know people will keep following you and watching you, and it's a big year for you till your next birthday. So use it wisely.
Definitely got to get to work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you so much being here, Michael. You'll be soon on the channel again with new astrological updates. People can't wait for that.
Definitely. And for those of you watching, please don't forget, if you would like a lunar or solar return chart, definitely hit me up. You will get a free 1-question reading as well.
I know, that's so cool of you to do that. Thank you for being generous like that.
Cool.
Well, have a great Tuesday, guys. Great week ahead. And we'll soon be back again with looking at some new techniques that Michael discovers. I can't wait for you to discover new techniques.
They just come to me sometimes, and I just like
crazy. That's the ninth house in you, and that's
it's very nice. Like you kind of see it. I like how you said
wow.
It's very discovering.
I'm such a parrot until I read it or someone points it to me. It's very hard for me to notice it with my powerful third house there. I need to learn techniques and skills, but you have this ability to take them out and create those techniques. And you create the principles. I'll teach them.
So that's the ninth, third house. All right, that makes sense.
Perfect. So thank you so much. And I will see you guys. You can contact Mike. Magic Mike. I found it so funny when you said Magic Mike. That's from the strip movie, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, oh, word.
Now you have so many women that desire you secretly, this Mars in the 12th house. That you don't know about.
And I don't even know that.
I know. So they probably imagine you dancing and doing astrology to them. Half naked.
They all think I have girlfriends. They all think I'm a player, but I'm just there.
Oh.
It's so funny. But I'll invest in a strip pole so I can.
You should have a pole day in your room. So while you're doing astrology readings, you can, play, dance a little.
Magic Mike. Astrology horoscope.
Honestly, you'll be the bomb. You have more views than anyone else. And you should make it live as well. Wow. Yeah. Show some skin as well for certain. That's an idea. Don't diss it.
It's a great idea.
Sorry, that was a bit of a silliness, but I enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And that was a great talk. I really enjoyed it. Thank you again, Mike. And I will see you guys soon on Friday with the Pisces, Aquarius, and Capricorn prediction for 2017. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.